Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nadine at 9 special interview with Teresa Faber, the director of the local Pregnancy Help Center. We are going to be speaking with her today to find out a little bit more about what the Pregnancy Center does, why it's important for the community, and how this Amendment 3 can affect the Pregnancy Center and just everything that entails. So stay tuned. We will be speaking with her right after this. All right. Good morning, Teresa. How are you?
Good. Doing well.
Good. Thanks for joining me this morning-ish. I guess it's almost afternoon, but not quite, so we'll just say it's morning. All right. Well, Teresa, why don't you let us, the listeners, know a little bit about who you are, what you do at the Pregnancy Center, and what the Pregnancy Center does for the community. I know that you serve a wide area around here, 3 different counties, so I'm looking forward to hearing more about that.
Yes, we serve Miller, Morgan, and Camden counties. We're a faith-based, community-based, not-for-profit organization. We provide care and resources to assist women with immediate and ongoing needs related to an unexpected pregnancy. We focus on alternatives to abortion and life-affirming services that are designed to empower a woman to welcome her child into the world. We are important, I believe, because we provide women with information about pregnancy options, including parenting, adoption, abortion risks, allowing them to make an informed decision based on their individual circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And we offer free pregnancy tests, free first trimester ultrasounds, so that they can identify pregnancies early, which helps enable them to access prenatal care sooner. We provide emotional support and counseling to the women facing challenging pregnancy situations. We also offer material assistance by offering baby supplies like clothes, diapers, car seats, formula
Wow.
to those pregnant women and new mothers that are in need. We also offer prenatal education by providing classes on prenatal care, parenting skills, and childbirth preparation.
Wow. Yeah, it offers a lot to the community, that's for sure. How long has the Pregnancy Center been in the, I guess, Camdenton area?
In Camdenton, I know that they first become a 501c3 back in 1989. They were first located in Lake Ozark, and we've moved around several times since then.
Yeah.
So right
And
now we're in Camdenton and in Versailles.
right, yes, there is that satellite location that went into Versailles. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years.
Two
Yeah, 2 years
years.
and a couple months, I think.
So tell us a little bit about how that satellite location came to be.
Um, I we have a lot of girls at the Camden Center that would come here for their first pregnancy test, and then they would do their first trimester ultrasound. We'd get them started in classes, and then we noticed that there were a segment of girls that were not using their mommy bucks in our boutique, and we couldn't figure out why they were not coming back to do that, even though they were taking the classes online. So I just started calling around to those, to that segment of girls that were not using their mommy bucks here, and found out that they lived in the area closer to Versailles, and they said it was just too much gas money to have to come from there to here. And so that's when we realized that, well, there must be a big need for it up in that area, so that we could give them the additional services on top of the pregnancy test and the ultrasound. So that's how that all came about. And within 2 weeks of making that decision with the board, I was told that there was a house that a lady and her husband wanted to use for a ministry-based, uh,
Or
place
right, right.
in Versailles. And so, yeah, so we jumped on that because they are, doing that for very low rent. And so we have a place there in Versailles.
That's awesome. That I really do like that location in Versailles. It just, it is a home, but it also just feels very homey there, which I really like. I really like the Camdenton location. Also, it's just different feels of the buildings for sure. But there is a ribbon cutting coming up for the Versailles location, correct?
Yes, that will be October the 19th on a Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So,
Yeah.
yes, and Brandy Meeks from Vitae will actually be there, and she's going to be speaking on what's going on with Amendment 3 also at that.
Oh, awesome. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you've been the director of the Pregnancy Center. Gosh, was it like 6 years? Is it longer than that or?
7 years
Okay.
and 2 or 3 months, something like that.
Wow. Have you seen it change quite a bit in the time that you've been there?
I have really seen it
Mm,
change, yeah, because we started in the Save-A-Lot parking lot, and that building just was not set up for,
mm-hmm.
um, what we needed to use it for. So moving here on 54, where there's a whole lot more traffic, has helped us out tremendously too.
Right. And yes, just for everyone's information, if you don't know already, the pregnancy center that's in Camdenton is right off 54. It's next to Sip Coffee Shop and across from the Gerbs, Baumgars, however you say it, location. So it is a very good location. It does get a lot of traffic there, and it is pretty close to the school, which I'm do you see that being a it's kind of hard. It's kind of a hard way to ask that question, but do you see that being a a strategic location for this school? Do you get quite a bit of foot traffic, I guess you could say, from the school, or do you?
Yes, I would say that, yeah, there's, girls that have come in and told us that, we ask them one of the questions that we have on our intake is, how did you hear about us? And so some of them will say, a friend over at the school, and that,
Hmm,
you know, it's not hard for them to get over here,
right,
from there. So,
right. And also, I think I heard you mention before too, since our area does have a large influx of young adults that come in the summertime to work here, you also, throughout the summer, will often see girls that come in from other states, correct?
yes, yes, we have. I could probably name off maybe 7 other states that I've seen girls come in here from,
Wow.
during that summertime,
Right.
um, so that they can work here and earn a living to go back and use that for college back in their home state.
Right. So it's definitely, it's not just a benefit for our community. It it really is a benefit to other states as well when those girls come in for the summertime. So I'm curious, do you have a favorite story that you like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I have a story I really like to share that's related to, I believe, the negligence of Planned Parenthood and
Mm,
giving a girl the abortion pills at the wrong time.
mm, yeah. Yeah.
So I tried to share that one with
Yeah,
you.
I would greatly appreciate to hear that story. I'm sure our listeners would as well, because a lot of times people hear things and they think, oh, that's an exaggeration or it's made up or just whatever the excuse is. But the reality is that Planned Parenthood is being negligent in at least some situations. That it's when they say, that pregnancy help centers don't actually care about the mom, it's really honestly Planned Parenthood and those fighting for abortion rights that are more on the side of not caring about the woman because, like we'll hear in your story, I mean, they can be very negligent and it can cause severe issues, sometimes the life of a woman. So, yes, please share with us.
Yes, well, if you can just imagine, um, this young lady, she made an appointment with Planned Parenthood to get the abortion pill. Um, and she already was afraid of being pregnant. She was already afraid of how she would deal with being a mother. Um, but she didn't see any other way forward.
Mm-hmm.
The only option appeared to her to be the abortion pill. And of course, we know Planned Parenthood claims, um, makes claims to these young ladies that it's easy and painless.
Right.
Um, so when she arrived at Planned Parenthood clinic in St. Louis, the first pill, which is mifepristone, was administered. Well, this chemical blocks the natural hormone, which is progesterone, produced in a woman's body when she's pregnant. So it breaks down the lining of the uterus, and the baby whose heart is already beating is starved to death,
Mm. Wow.
dying, and it's dying inside of her womb. So sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours at home and alone, without a doctor's supervision, the second pill, which is misoprostol, was taken. This pill forced her body into labor, causing her severe cramping, contractions, and heavy bleeding. These reactions they can last anywhere from a few hours to a few days.
Wow.
So she was suffering in physical pain, and she was in isolation of fear. There was nothing for her to do now but wait for her womb to expel the baby's dead body.
Mm-hmm.
Her body did not expel um, her dead baby. And so you have to ask the question, why didn't it expel this dead body or dead baby? At least she thought it was dead.
Right.
Um, this 2 pill regimen was to be administered to her at 10 weeks or less along in her pregnancy. But she was given by Planned Parenthood, she was given this pill at 25 weeks pregnant.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
That's, yeah,
yeah.
that's
And
over
they sent
double.
home, they gave them to her, and then they sent her home
Mm.
with some instructions on what to do. Now she's in physical pain. She knows something isn't right. So, of course, she started fearing for her own health and even her life at this point.
Right.
Um, she began to panic, and she called Planned Parenthood and told them what happened, or should I say, rather, what didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, She's told to return to their clinic in St. Louis so that they can do an ultrasound and see if the baby was still viable. So she drives all the way from here at the lake to St. Louis, worried, scared, and alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so upon arrival to Planned Parenthood, she was ushered back to a room where there was an ultrasound machine. So they determined that her pregnancy is still viable and they must schedule her for a surgical abortion. But
Wow.
when she asked to see this ultrasound picture, her request was flatly denied. Um, they wouldn't allow her to look at it. Now, that made her mind flood with other concerns, other
Mm-hmm.
fears, other
Mm-hmm.
questions. Um, so Planned Parenthood told her the pills would work, and they did not work. And why didn't they? Because they told her it was because she's 25 weeks pregnant. And so now she's going to have a surgical abortion.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they did not know this before giving her the pills, because by law, they are to do a ultrasound before they even prescribe those pills,
Right.
because an ultrasound, allows, it allows to, them to be able to see if the baby has a heartbeat, and also helps date her pregnancy.
Right.
So had they really done that beforehand, they would have known she was 25 weeks along and should not have given her those pills.
Right. So,
So I question, whether or not they even did the ultrasound to begin with.
yeah, that's what I was going to ask was did did this woman say if they had done an ultrasound, or was that, I mean, it's a very traumatic situation, so I'm sure that there's some information that you just might not know, but it
Yeah.
definitely seems extremely negligent to me. And, you know,
Well, either way, really,
right.
because if they had done it, they'd known it and not given her the pill. But let's say they didn't know
Mhm.
and they gave her the pill, it's still wrong. They have to know. They're supposed to, by law, have given her an ultrasound. And if they did, fine, but then they must have known she was 25
Right.
weeks, so
That's
give her the
true.
pill.
Yeah, and
So either way.
I was thinking while you were talking about that, cuz she was here at the lake and she went to St. Louis to the Planned Parenthood and got these pills, came home, did it. She's having severe reactions, and then they told her to get back in the car and drive to St. Louis while she's
Yeah.
having these severe reactions, right?
Yeah, that's a long distance. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that too is like, good grief. Why? Who? I don't know. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
even want to drive anywhere when I don't feel well, let alone, having these severe reactions and not having any idea what's going on. So that just seems even more negligent.
Yeah, exactly. And why they didn't just go and tell her, just go straight over to
Right.
your local, hospital, to the ER,
Yeah.
um, instead of going all that far, because their mind was on getting that baby aborted.
Yep. Right.
Um, and so that's why I believe that they
Mm-hmm.
told her to get in the car and come all the way back.
Goodness.
So she was feeling pain and she was in tears over her situation. So she was sitting in the parking lot there at St. Louis after they wouldn't show her the picture of the ultrasound, just worried. And she picked up her phone thinking, I've got to find, there's got to be something else out there. And so she found our center, popped up on Google for
Mm.
her. And she called us, and one of our trained client advocates with our center, they quickly asked her to come directly to our center, and we would listen and help her navigate her options. She saw that we closed at 4 and didn't think she would make it on time, and I said, yes, you'll make it on time because we'll stay
Right.
until,
Absolutely.
until we get through this. And so she did come, and after our counseling and referral for proper medical care, she decided she wanted to give her baby as a gift to a
Mm.
loving couple. So we set up uh, the next day with our adoption advocate. We work with Nightlight Adoptions. And so the lady from there came over and sat with her the next day, and she was able to pick out parents uh, that
Mm.
she wanted to raise her baby. So I like Nightlight in that way. They first, they assess that young lady, and whenever they decide they want to put the baby up for adoption, um, they really guide them through that, making sure that that really is what they want to do. And then they can be totally in an open adoption situation or a closed adoption situation, or they can say, I want it closed, but yet I want to be the one that picks the parents. So they have a lot of choices there, and she picked a couple from Texas. And then when the baby was born, our place was, they came here to get the
Mm.
baby, and first place they stopped was here at the pregnancy center to come in and thank us for saving that baby because they
Yeah.
couldn't have themselves. And so it was great to see them
Yeah.
come and receive that little blessing.
Yeah, that is a very precious story that it's just a great reminder that what the enemy intends for evil, the Lord can and does use for good. So I'm grateful that you all were there and that you were obviously willing to stay. You
Yeah,
didn't just say, "Well, we're closing and we're leaving, so you're on your own." You definitely, and you had never met her.
no,
It
no,
was,
had never met her.
yeah, it's just I definitely I appreciate that you guys did that. So I would like to talk for a second because all of this happened because of the abortion pill, and I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding maybe about the difference between like the morning after plan B pill and the abortion pill, the chemical abortion. So, could you talk for just a few minutes about the differences in those two things and then maybe just again kind of explain what it is that each of them do?
Yeah, yeah, I can do that. Well, the abortion pill is also known as a medical abortion or a chemical abortion. It's very different from Plan B and how it works. Plan B is a form of emergency contraception, also known as the morning after pill. The abortion pill is designed to end an existing pregnancy. Plan B is designed to prevent
Hmm.
pregnancy. So Plan B and other emergency contraception pills can be purchased over the counter. This is because Plan B is not a controlled substance, while the abortion pill is.
Okay.
Uh, the abortion pill must be prescribed by a licensed medical professional. Um, Items that need to be prescribed by a medical professional are more controlled and they're managed because they would have major implications if taken incorrectly
Right.
or by a person that it's not prescribed for. These two pills are not only acquired differently and have different names, but the way they function is very different. Plan B could be described as preventative, while the abortion pill's function is to perform an abortion post fertilization.
Right.
Plan B is widely known as the morning after pill, but unlike that nickname suggests, it does not need to be taken the morning after unprotected sex. In fact, the sooner Plan B is taken, the more effective it will be. Um,
Okay.
there's a number of different brands. Plan B's one. I think they have one called My Way, another one called Take Action, uh, different names out there. But the primary goal of Plan B is to prevent fertilization.
Okay.
So for Plan B to be effective, it needs to be taken within 72 hours of unprotected sex or failed contraception. A
Right.
lot of girls use it for, the condom breaks, or maybe they forgot to take their pill the last couple of days, and things like that. So that's probably its purpose. Um,
Right. And then
so
with
if Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say and then with the chemical abortion pills, that is like you said, it is actually ending, it's terminating a life that has already begun.
Yeah, yeah. The abortion pill is a series of two drugs taken after a pregnancy has been confirmed.
Mm.
Um, so this medication, it needs to be prescribed by a licensed medical professional. Um, and that first pill actually requires an in-person visit to a clinic, but it also can be done by a telehealth visit,
Mhm.
which that scares me even more than the in person. Um,
Right.
how are they getting that ultrasound with a telehealth visit.
Absolutely.
They're just talking to a doctor on a screen. Um, and then, and they're supposed to be able to have that ultrasound. So I don't
Right.
know how a telehealth visit works exactly, but I would
Mm-hmm.
think that they would have to make them go get one before they could prescribe it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, um,
Yeah, that doesn't
you
seem
know,
like a lot of accountability there.
no, no, there's not.
But and
Um, yeah.
yeah, and I had
Uh,
actually been reading, with certain states, Missouri being one of them, having pretty strict regulations on no abortions, which technically I believe in the state of Missouri, you're not even really supposed to be able to get the abortion pills, the chemical abortion. However, it can come across state lines through these telehealth appointments. And then there are these shield laws put in place that protect those telehealth doctors that if they prescribe this abortion series of pills to a woman and there is some sort of severe complication, like in the story that you just told us, that shield law protects the doctor from any kind of liability, which again is where is the accountability? I mean, you're talking about two lives that
yeah,
I mean, yes, one of them you're intentionally trying to kill, but the other one, there's a very high risk of severe side effects or even death with them as well. And they just are the doctor is completely protected from any kind of liability. That just seems completely negligent to me.
yes, it is. And these pills are so, uh, even though they're not supposed to come across state lines, they do all the time. I mean,
Yeah,
there are over 70 websites where these girls can go and get these pills, and not all of these pills are FDA approved. Some of them have went through, out of country places. You don't really know what's in
interesting.
those. And so, yeah, it's just a scary, to me, very scary thing. Because there's a lot of risks involved with that um, abortion pill.
Right. And I
Um,
highly doubt that that's being explained well, especially to young girls. I just imagine this young teenage girl who made a decision, and there's a consequence from that decision, and then she's trying to hide it or whatever, and she's alone or with another young teenage girl, and they're taking these pills that a doctor said is fine for them to take, and they end up having severe reactions from it. I just oh
yeah, 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 alone, because most of them do that alone. They just, because they don't want anyone else to know.
right, right.
And so, yeah, it's very scary. Those risks with the abortion pill, I mean, there's cramping, there's heavy vaginal bleeding, nausea, weakness, fever, chills,
Mm-hmm.
headache, diarrhea, dizziness, and then there's some adverse effects too that can happen, and that would be things like an incomplete abortion where not everything was expelled.
Oh,
And so there can be pieces of that fetus inside. And what happens with that is that they can get a serious infection.
oh my.
Uh,
Yeah,
and
that happened
yes,
recently in another
yeah,
state,
yeah.
correct?
Yes, that story is, at first everybody, I mean, the pro-choice people really jumped on that at first because they thought that was the negligence of, the fact that um,
That this woman
the,
wasn't allowed to have an abortion.
the laws are, yeah, that the laws are delaying access to medical care
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. So this ProPublica issued a report, and they had claimed that it was a young lady from Georgia. They claimed that Georgia's abortion restrictions delayed access to medical care and caused the tragic death of a woman named Amber Nicole Thurman. That
Mm-hmm.
was in 2022. Um, but they have since found out that it wasn't because she was turned away from medical care that caused her death, but her death was actually caused because she died after being hospitalized for an infection after she took the abortion pills.
Hmm.
Um, while abortion advocates have used the story to blame Thurman's death on Georgia's pro-life laws, it could happen here in Missouri too, because we have the same pro-life laws.
Right.
A group of doctors now have come forward to state that her death was caused by the abortion pill and medical negligence. There's a lady by the name of Dr. Christina Francis, and she is the CEO of the American Association of Obstetrics and Gynecologists, and she's also a board certified OBGYN. And she said Amber Thurman's tragic death, recently covered by multiple news organizations, was caused by the side effects of legal abortion drugs
Mm.
and medical negligence, not the pro-life laws.
Right.
Uh, so, I mean, she had actually, it was twins that she was
Oh.
carrying. She went to the emergency room like 5 days after experiencing complications from the abortion pill, um, in which tissue from her deceased twins remained in her uterus,
Oh my.
which caused the infection. So the standard of care is a D&C procedure to remove the remains. It was not done for over 20 hours.
Wow.
Um, So during this time, more serious medical problems had developed, and Georgia law allows physicians to intervene in medical emergencies, and this would have been a medical emergency
Mm-hmm.
when there's no fetal heartbeat. And those both applied to this Thurman lady.
Right.
And so they couldn't blame it on, the pro-life laws.
Right.
Um,
Right. Yeah.
so,
And once
yeah.
again, it's just that I have never met someone that is on the side of pro life work that doesn't care as much about the woman as they do about the baby inside of her. That is not that's not an issue for us. I mean, we care about the life of both. I mean, we care about the life of the father and about the lives of the grandparents and the siblings and every single person that this abortion will affect. We care about all of those people. That's why there are places like the pregnancy centers to help care for these women and men and extended family and whoever else needs that care and support, because it can be a really scary time. So
Yeah,
it's
really can
definitely
be.
important to have those pregnancy centers available, because we are actually doing the work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just curious. Do you think that there's just a lack of education about what the abortion pill is? Because there are several people who would claim to be pro life who seem to have no issue with the abortion pill. So, do you think that there's a lack of education? I mean, you just said it blocks the natural hormone and starves the baby. So,
Yeah.
there is a life that is being cut off from survival. So, do you think that people just don't understand that that's actually what's happening? Do you think that they have it a little bit confused with the Plan B morning after pill that is to prevent a pregnancy? I mean, where do you think that the disconnect is happening?
I'm not sure, um, you know, I sometimes wonder about even the schools and educating,
Mm,
whenever they do their sex education
mm-hmm.
classes or whatever, are they not educating them on the risks and exactly what is involved and how these pills can cause could cause death? Um, a lot of people, I've even heard, even Planned Parenthood say that it's it's just as uh, risky to take a Tylenol as it is to take that pill.
Oh, my.
And I'm just like, if girls think that the only risk they're getting is maybe, some after effects of a Tylenol on some people might bother their stomach or it might, and I'm like, there's so much more to it than that. It's not
Yes.
as simple as taking a Tylenol. Uh, so I think a lot of them just haven't been educated. One, I don't know, parents even need to get in there. They need to get in there and be teaching their girls, the risk of these things. You know, back in my day, the only, I just probably wouldn't have had sex because I was scared to death of my dad.
Yeah, exactly.
And so where has that went today? And I think because my dad put the fear of me,
Right.
I mean, he did put the fear in me about that stuff, but I don't think people are educating their children at home
Mhm.
about that stuff. We didn't
Mhm.
have abortion pills back then either.
Mhm.
Um, so now these things have come into our culture and we need to be educated about them so we can sit down with our children and start discussing those things.
Absolutely.
So I think the beginning breakdown is right there in the family.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Eh,
and so then you go to the school with sex education classes, and if they're just telling them that, they're the only risks of the abortion pill may be cramping and dizziness and things like
mhm.
that, but they don't tell them what also could happen if they don't expel the baby and infections set in. So there's
Right.
a breakdown somewhere.
Right.
I believe those two big places.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought up the family unit because that's another thing that the pregnancy help center tries to do is bring the men into the picture, because when there is the functioning nuclear unit the way that God intended with a loving father and mother, then a lot of these issues that we're having might not be happening, or they at least wouldn't be as prevalent, because there is that loving father figure in the home that is doing those things to protect their daughters and to try and help them grow into mature responsible adults, instead of just you know kind of relinquishing that right to the school and then trusting the school, which obviously that's not working right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that the pregnancy center has somewhat of a focus on bringing the dads into it as well, because they can take the classes and earn daddy bucks to shop in the boutiques, correct?
Yes, and sometimes even when the young lady comes in by themselves for the pregnancy test and we ask them, is there a boyfriend involved here that, you want involved? And we tell them right then, why don't you bring him in? Because,
Mm-hmm.
he could take classes too and you can double up on those bucks and even get more. And they're like, oh, yeah. And then the next time, here they are bringing, the dad in. And some are with their girlfriend or their spouse or whatever, and they see that they can take the classes too, and they jump on board with that. So yeah, we're very, just really want the guy involved in
Absolutely.
that. So, and
Yeah.
some of those fatherhood classes that we do have even, expound upon that with the father that, you are very important in this child's life. And just there's a much bigger chance of that baby being, raised right whenever it has, like you say, a mom and a dad in the family
Right.
together. They just have a huge impact.
Yes.
They always say daddy's little girl, mommy's little boy, or whatever, but I see that all the time. I'm always, we've got one dad that brings his little girl in all the time, and
Mm.
and the mom's always saying, she doesn't like me as much as her dad. So yeah, dad has a huge impact, and so they look up to dad, and yeah, we
Absolutely.
need to definitely um, be there to explain to them that dad is very important in their
Absolutely.
lives.
Yes. And so where you might have mentioned this, but go ahead and mention it again. Where does all of your like tangible resources come from? Cribs, blankets, clothing, diapers.
That would be from our community and from our churches that sometimes will, do baby showers for us, or they'll just bring in items. They can get our needs list. When we put our newsletter out, it has the needs list in there. So yeah, we get all of that stuff, all from people that donate.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
So.
if someone wanted to donate, is there anything specific right now or just maybe an ongoing need of something that your boutiques need?
Always have an ongoing need for the bigger items, like car seats and cribs and pack and plays and things like that, because they're expensive. So,
Mm,
we don't always have the funding ourselves to run out and buy those items. I know one thing that goes off of our shelves very quickly are baby wipes.
okay.
We can't seem to keep those stocked enough. We're always having to run and go get more. And formula is kind of hard for us because it expires.
Oh, right.
So, and then also they're on, every girl's on some, I mean, every baby here seems to be on some different kind of formula.
Mm,
They're not all on the same kind. So I always say gift cards to Walmart are great, because when that formula, is needed right then and it has to be a certain brand, then we can just run up and go get that.
absolutely. Yeah, that's a great idea. And for anyone that wants to donate financially, in the state of Missouri, there is a great incentive of a 70% tax credit, which is on top of the typical deductions to a nonprofit organization. So it's, you kind of, you give $100, you get a 70% tax credit, then you can give that $70 again the next year. And it just is a gift that keeps on giving, right?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, the tax credit is definitely very good incentive, I would think, to be giving to us. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that get ripped away, because I'm telling you, if that Amendment 4 passes, those kinds of things we're going to lose them.
Right, Amendment 3. Yes. So I did want to ask about that too. Are there specific things that you know of that would change for pregnancy centers in Missouri? Cuz I know that right now you are not required by law to refer for an abortion. If a woman comes in or calls or whatever and says, "I just want to get an abortion. I don't that's all I want to do. I just want an abortion." There are some states where they'd be required to refer for an abortion. In Missouri, that is not the case, thankfully. So, do you know if Amendment 3 passes, would that change by law?
I believe that if it passes, there will be, that side will be jumping on that bandwagon real quick to make
Mm,
sure that happens. Um, and I can say, as our pregnancy help center, is that we will not refer for abortions.
yeah,
And they'll just have to come at us, and we'll
yeah,
just have to get our lawyers, and we'll have to do something, because we will not refer for abortions. That goes totally against what the Pregnancy Help Center stands for. It goes against our freedom of speech,
mm-hmm,
uh, and it goes against our freedom of religion and the way that we run our business. And so, um,
absolutely.
yes, if they're going to try to force us to do that, that's something we've already decided as
Mm-hmm,
our center, and the board has decided we will not refer for abortions.
yeah,
Um,
I
so
appreciate
yeah,
that.
and I know the pregnancy centers too, if it passes, will probably have an increased number of abortion-minded clients, because it would be so readily available near them. And that's partly because it would be legal for non-physicians to perform surgical abortions and distribute abortion pills.
Interesting.
That
Yeah.
that gets me the most on that Amendment 3, is that
Right.
It would be legal for non-physicians to perform a surgical abortion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But it has to be a physician to do other surgeries.
mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. We talk about the
So,
negligence
yeah,
now. I can't even imagine, if this amendment passes, which we are praying desperately that it does not. But, if it does, I mean, the negligence and abuse, I don't, I mean, it just seems like abuse to me, honestly, that this would be allowed, that it's just anyone, any healthcare professional can make these decisions and do these things. That's absolutely outrageous.
yes, yeah,
And that's why
yeah.
we need to fight against it and stand strong
Exactly.
for sure.
Yeah. And that's also going to take away the Missouri's Alternatives to Abortion Fund, and possibly the Pregnancy Resource Center tax credit,
Mhm.
because to provide those to a pregnancy center, but not to the abortionists
Right.
and abortion clinics, would be to discriminate against persons providing or obtaining
Yep.
reproductive health care.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah,
Yeah, it's a
it's very,
it's very bad. Amendment 3, you've heard me talk about it several times on the show, but this is just another side of it too with, I wanted to have Teresa on to just share a deeper look into what the pregnancy center is doing and the reality of what's happening already in a state where abortion is illegal. There's already negligence happening. Do we really want to open the door and welcome it in even further? That's not protecting lives. That's just throwing them out the window, basically.
yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience? Maybe just any ways to get involved, or ways they could pray.
Yeah, definitely. Just, and even praying just for my staff and for my client advocate volunteers every day as we work with these girls, and that we will be able to show the love of Christ to each one of them, so that they know that we're here for them, and we're not judging them,
Mhm.
and we love each and every one of them. You mentioned earlier that I didn't even know that young lady that walked in that that had the negligence with Planned Parenthood. I don't know anybody that's getting ready to walk in this door, but I immediately already have a love for them. Doesn't matter who
Right.
comes in. Um, so yeah, just be in prayer for that. Prayer for, that people see this Amendment 3 and realize that if it does pass, we're really going to need people to stand up and give more to the pregnancy centers, because some of our other financial things like the A2A program and things, we will not have um,
Right.
those to use. So giving is a huge um, blessing that someone could give to us.
Absolutely. Yes. Definitely. Well, Teresa, thank you so much. And I did want to mention that you all will be at the Apple Festival in Versailles this Saturday. You're going to be in the parade. If anyone is wanting to walk in the parade, we're also going to be passing out some vote no on 3 stuff. So I know that
Mhm.
many hands make light work most of the time.
Yeah.
So, and then there will also be a booth at the
Yeah.
festival. Do you know what number booth you are?
Uh, 374.
374. So go check them out
Mhm.
at Apple Fest this weekend in Versailles at booth 374. And yeah, we'll just keep fighting this amendment and supporting our local pregnancy center.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, everyone, that was Teresa Faber with the Pregnancy Help Center in Camdenton. I actually worked there for a time I was the development director, and I learned a lot while I was there. And I will definitely just say, when Teresa says a girl walks in and she just instantly has a love for them, those of us that are followers of Christ know that's the love of God that flows through. But that is very true. She definitely has this instant love for these girls and their families, their unborn babies, the dads. She really does. So if you do have someone that comes across your path that is in need of some kind of pregnancy care, I would definitely direct them there. They stay with the woman for really as long as she needs after the pregnancy too. They have stuff up to, I believe, 4 years old in their baby boutique. So it's not a save the baby and we're done like the other side likes to lie about. We The pregnancy center is there. They're they're in it for the long haul. So definitely I would recommend whatever area you're in. There are pregnancy centers all over our country, thankfully, but especially in the Camden County, Miller, and Morgan counties, you can direct them to the pregnancy center in Camdenton. And yeah, they'll definitely be well taken care of there. So I just appreciate everyone tuning in for this special interview. Please share this information. It is so important, especially about what's going on with the abortion pill. A lot of girls are taking this, and there are very severe consequences, and they need to know the truth. So please share this episode. You can find me at Nadine at 9 on YouTube, and also live Friday mornings at 9 a.m. at Dam Radio in the Lake Ozark Real Estate of the Art Studio. I just want to remind everyone that until next time, let's not act like children. See you all next week.